Hey, so I'm Stephen Crescione. Welcome to the No Take Mafia podcast. I'm really happy you guys could join us today for episode 1, and where I'll be talking with Chris Gridley, the co-founder of the No Take Mafia. And this is something we've been talking about doing for a really long time. I'm excited that we finally got to sit down and do it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want more No Take Mafia content, I'll put all the links to our social media in the show notes and on YouTube and in Spotify. And yeah, come check us out. And we hope that you connect with this message that we're sharing today. And this can enhance your life or encourage you to make a change in your life for the better. So yeah, happy again to have you guys with us, and we'll get right to it. Enjoy. Yeah, let me get. Why is this software so old? Yeah, so tell me what is a cord of wood again? I do want to hear about that.
Yes, so you have a face cord and you have a full cord.
Okay.
A full cord is 4 feet by 4 feet by 8 feet. A face cord is 1/3 of that. So 3 face cords make 1 full cord. For everyone out there in radio land who's interested in wood.
Yeah, for the non-wood cutting, people out there, that would be me included. I own an axe. It's a standard axe. I know they make different types. I think it's maybe a splitting axe. So yeah. Do you use a splitting axe to cut down a tree?
So
is that
is more Paul Bunyan style.
Okay.
What I will do is I'll either go find a log somewhere,
Okay.
or I will chop a tree down with a chainsaw, and then I'll cut it up into 16-inch pieces, because 3 16-inch pieces makes 4 feet.
Okay.
Ergo, there's your full cord. All right, so that's how they came up. That's why 3 face cord make 1 full cord.
All right,
I don't know why they do it that way, but that's just the way they do it.
Man, you're really getting destroyed over there by the
Dude,
rats.
I am. They're attacking me hard. I'm gonna smell real good.
Did you? If you put any hair care products in?
Dude, I had some pomade.
Yeah. Do you want a hat? Because that does help though. I can get you
it's
a
probably
hat.
a good idea because I might have to do something.
Yeah. So we'll take a break here in a minute, but. Welcome to the episode 1 of the No Take Mafia podcast. This is just something we're going to do. We're hanging out in the garage. I am Stephen Crescione. I'm just a member of the No Take Mafia. I think I'm sitting here with the founder of the No Take Mafia, Chris Gridley. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. I would say it was co-founded. I think is how co-founded and co-developed. I think is a more accurate description. Yeah,
so I didn't want to insert myself there or assume too much.
Tell you what, you assume it.
Okay, so we're here. We are we are the No Take Mafia. We are the entire No Take Mafia, but just 2 guys right now. But
we are small but mighty.
Yeah, and we have plans. This is going to be an empire here. So we got shirts, we got some merch. We got to get a store set up. We don't have that going yet.
We'll get that worked out. Once you have a logo, then you're legit. That's kind of the way I see it. So we've got a logo. So ergo, we're somebody.
We have a logo today until it gets stolen by some Chinese company, which you mentioned that today.
I told you we got to get a trademark. We got to get a trademark.
Got to get a trademark. But. Yeah, so maybe I need to blur that out so you guys no, it's all over the internet. We got all the social media set up, and if you head on over to our social media, you'll see really not much of anything. A couple climbing videos. So yeah, the No Take Mafia. Yeah, what is that, man? And that's so for us, it started as a kind of a climbing thing, and I think it's evolved into more of a lifestyle thing, which I've definitely have kind of thought about that a lot in these different things that I've done, in different activities, things like that. And so, but I guess before we even get into that, do you wanna take a pause and get a hat?
I think so. I might get carried away.
All right. You know what? I'm not gonna stop it. I'm
okay.
Just gonna step. What kind of hat do you want?
I need something with, what is it called? An unstructured hat. That's what I need because my head is deformed.
Okay, head's deformed. I'll be back.
I'll talk about my head deformity. So I have a twin brother, and when we were, in utero, I guess I think there was two of us, and so he smushed my head, and ergo, smushed head. But this is a structured hat.
All right, so this is going to be
you just tell me if I look bad.
This is going to be a child's hat, probably.
A child's hat?
So this could be the coach's hat, which was my hat. Is that going to work?
It might. Does it look too big on the?
No, dude. You look great.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You look freaking. I don't know.
I've never been a Dodgers fan, but whatever.
Well, so for whatever reason, my son's t-ball team.
They're the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't know. They just picked random. They were like the Phillies. They had some other. They had some other teams as well. But
go Shohei Ohtani.
All right.
All right.
Oh yeah, is he with the?
He's with the Dodgers.
Dude,
now,
I'm telling you,
he's crushing it. He's having a great year.
I guess it's pretty incredible.
Tommy John's, or not. He's awesome.
Yeah, and they do that now. Don't they do that in advance of an injury? They just go ahead and do it, right?
It's crazy. You'll see stuff like that at times, but it kind of irks me. I don't know why anyone would do surgery preemptively. It just makes no sense, but at any rate.
Yeah, apparently I think it's an enhancement of some type.
Yes. It can be, but yeah. But at any rate.
All right.
Kind of back to the no-take mafia like you were talking about, and I don't know. Do you want to talk about kind of what that is and what that means, and go from there?
Yeah, and then we're gonna we're gonna set up like a GoFundMe to get a studio so we don't have to sit in here with the gnats. We could have done it in my closet.
We probably could have. If someone wants to send us some bug spray, that'd be fantastic.
Bug spray. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, because I'm actually out. I think my neighbor needed some, and we used that last little bit. But yeah, man. So yeah, here we are. No Take Mafia. So, I guess. Yeah, give me the origins of that. Yeah, give me the origins.
Yeah. So it's I think you'd mentioned a minute ago, about rock climbing, and so I guess to sort of tell the origins of the No Take Mafia, I'll talk about how we met, probably 3-ish years ago, something like that.
Right.
We had met at a rock climbing gym in Raleigh, and I remember, and I was probably about a year into my rock climbing experience. I was still a novice, and I remember, seeing this guy from across the way and taking these big falls, and just making a ruckus. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at that guy. He's going hard. And they were pretty difficult routes. But just climbing and taking one fall after another. And it got me all fired up because, when I go and climb, and everyone climbs at a gym for different reasons. Some people just like the social aspect, like they're going to a gym, or maybe they want to go and get stronger or prep for maybe outdoor climbing, which I think is what we like to do. But at any rate, the one thing we definitely like to do is climb hard, and to our ability. And so at any rate, I saw you taking big falls at the gym, and it got me fired up. And that's when I went up and introduced myself and just said, hey man, you were climbing hard today. And I thought it was awesome. And so that's how we met anyways. And we started climbing together more at the gym. We went to and did some outdoor climbing together as well. And it was after one of those outdoor trips. We were on our way home from Pilot Mountain, and I was like, you know what, man, I think I've got like a name for us, And I was like, we're gonna start calling ourselves the No Take Mafia. And
I think you did mention that, and what I remember about that is at first, I was like, this is kind of corny, man. This is a little bit goofy, and I don't know if you had the logo and the stickers and stuff yet, but initially I was like, yeah, all right, No Take Mafia. I don't know why. It just sounded pretty goofy to me, man, and it's funny. Yeah, I remember meeting you. I remember I was talking about this local climbing spot. Right? So I live in North Carolina. We didn't really do much of a background. That's fine. We'll get into that. But yeah, so we both live in North Carolina, and you might hear the four-wheelers in the background. So again, we're not only dealing with the bugs, but we're also dealing with Saturday night. What do you goings ons? How do you? There's a way to say that.
I think it's goings on.
Goings on.
That's what I would say.
All right. So
actually, I wouldn't say that, but
yeah, I've never said that, but I'm saying that today. All right. So, but yeah, no, yeah. I remember meeting you, man, and it was kind of just like, all right, this is cool. This, we'll get together and we'll go climbing, and man, I think I recognized pretty quickly just your personality and just how you, man, you got this hardcore, like first of all, you got a passion for life. You're just always fired up about something, man. I love that. Your optimism, just how you see the world and just how you move through it and things like climbing, man, especially climbing. That's just one of the things that for me, like, dude, when you're not around, I kind of lose. I won't say, I just get more pumped up, fired up to go climbing when I know you're around, because I know we're going to go out and put down. I'm going to go put down some hard routes on my own, but I know when you're there, it's going to be like, all right, something's going down tonight. But yeah, so the No Take Mafia, yeah. So we met, and No Take, like, so for people that don't climb, what is a take? And give me define that for me. Yeah. What is that?
No, and that's a good question. And so
it's unforgivable is what it is.
Yes, that is correct. You can never take. But in the climbing world, you have a few different styles of climbing. You have top rope climbing. You have sport climbing. There's trad climbing. But in general, just to keep it simple, when we talk about no takes, we're talking about, or we came up with this anyways, when we were sport climbing, which is you're tied into a rope, and as you climb, you will clip into quick draws or protection at various points as you ascend the wall, ascend the route if you're outdoors, or ascend the wall indoors, and you're only protected as high as your last clip. So typically you'll climb a bit, you'll clip in about level with your body, and then you'll go and climb above that. And you can take some pretty decent sized falls, and not always, but you will have a fall if you come off the route.
Right.
And one of the things that I know I used to do all the time early on is, I'd be scared or I'd be tired, and I'd be nervous I couldn't make the next move up. So I would call for a take so I could rest and sort of I could check it out and take a look at it, make sure that, okay, yeah, I can do this. But it was always kind of I don't want to say a cowardly way out. That's probably harsh.
I definitely, I feel that way too. I think when we talk about shaming your ancestors and dude, no, it's definitely for me, it's an ego. It's like a pride thing. It hurts, dude. You don't want to call for the take, but yeah. So the take, you're climbing up, you're clipping the protection, as opposed to, so if anybody walks into a climbing gym, which anybody can walk in, and you can pay like $20, get some rental gear, and you can go do some top rope. You can get belay certified. That's where you got your partner on the other end of the rope, and you're controlling it as they're climbing, and you would be using what would be called a top rope setup, right? So less risk. They pretty much let any dude off the street just come in and do that. Lead climbing, you have to take it's like a two-day something, two sessions, and then you take a test, which I actually failed my first lead test. The guy, I don't know why, man. He was like, you're just like I didn't technically do anything wrong. He was just like, you're too nervous. And I was like, dude, I mean, I drink coffee all day. I have a high pressure job. And I was like, I come right after work and do this, and then you're going to fail me. The other dude I went and did, he was like, oh no, you're good, man. You'll be totally fine. But so you're walking in. Yeah. So take. All right. So yeah, in lead climbing, in the gym and outdoors and things. So there's this. It's kind of irrational somewhat, but there's like this perceived risk or danger or something. So people have that. They have this fear of falling when realistically, right, the very low percentage chance. I'm talking like you really have to do something dumb. You got to get your foot wrapped around the rope, which, that happens. But so you really have to make a mistake or miss a clip or something like that, which, we skip some clips every now and then. That's not allowed in the gym. That's, I thought that day,
as we're told.
Dude, that day, I swear. So, that day, we were actually climbing one day. This was the best. This was so funny to me. But yeah, so you're clipping, you got like a bolt every 5 or 6 feet. And you're climbing, you're clipping your rope into it, and for whatever reason, our other buddy Evan, I think he was belaying me, and for whatever reason, we were talking about. I don't know if we were talking about the passes or whatever, but I was just like, oh yeah, no, I'll just like skip this clip or something. And we were laughing. I saw him standing down there with a young girl, and he was talking to her, and I was like, oh well, I was like, I'll skip this clip, and that'll look cool, and like, just. She'll be impressed or something, think I'm cool because I'm climbing, and it turns out she actually worked for the gym, and then she was like, yeah, he probably shouldn't do that. And then I had to. Then when I came down, she was like, do you have your where's your lead certification tag? And I was like, nah, I don't put that on there. It's kind of lame. I don't think I said it was lame, but I've always thought it was lame. I was like, I'm lead certified and top rope certified, and here's the thing, like, so if you're top rope certified and lead certified, please take your top rope certification whatever card off of your harness, because you can't be one without the other. I don't think
that's fair. By the way, I have both mine on, just to let you know.
Okay, so you know what? All right, never noticed that, but I will see that next time, I'm sure. So take it off though. Let's take that off.
I'll think about it.
All right, so no take. So so again, so what we're talking about here is, you're climbing up, you got this perceived fear, perceived danger. I'm going to fly off the wall, I'm going to get hurt. This really doesn't happen. Now, outdoors, there is a little more of a kind of risk factor, because even if you go, like, let's say, again, we're in North Carolina, so you go to Pilot Mountain, that's like sport climbing paradise. A lot of people would say the rock quality is just garbage, but we love it.
Right.
I freaking love it, dude.
I think it's all right.
I love it. But so, they say the rock quality, so there are some routes though that are bolted, like where you get up, you go to make your next clip, and it's like, well, there's a ledge that's, 7, 8, 10 feet below you. Yeah. There are a few routes where, like, you could get hurt if you didn't make your clip. But if you don't make your clip, you can't call for a take, so you wouldn't be calling for a take. But basically, again, it's it's just perceived. It's kind of irrational, and we climb with people. We see it in the gym all the time, and that goes back to that's what we're out here doing, man. So no take is it's something a concept that came out of climbing, where we said basically, hey, you always have to make the move into fear. So you basically, and the way I look at it, and this is how I kind of thought about it, was, the point of no return, right? We get in these situations in climbing where it is safer to continue to the next position or clip or whatever than it would be to climb down. And a lot of people, they sense that point and they say, nope, I'm not going past that. I'm going to just call for a take, and you're going to sit there and you're going to hang out and think about it, and it's worse. It's honestly worse.
It is, and I think the idea, to go and sort of, expand upon what you described already. It's, is what you're trying to do a danger, or is it a challenge? And if the next step, is just a challenge, the danger is minimal, then why are you not going full tilt towards that challenge? And that's really the essence of it, I think. And giving it your all to make that next move, giving it your all to strive for whatever's next, and not sitting back, resting, out of fear, because it's that's what's stopping you. It's fear. It's not danger. It's just fear.
Yeah, and I think what I find, and like today was a great example. So we went to the gym today. We go Wednesdays and Saturdays to Triangle Rock Club. Give them a little plug here, but we go Wednesdays and Saturdays. Great. We went to Durham this morning, and there was a overhanging like 511 plus that I was on. And, there was a move where I was like, I was like, it's a low percentage that I'm going to make this. But what I found over time, and so I guess I'll go back to that. But what I found over time is, a lot of times when people, this is something that Erwin McManus, one of my favorite authors, he says, a lot of times people mistake quitting for failure, right? And so they quit and then they act like they failed. And in climbing, what that looks like to me is that's where, a lot of times you think, I'm in the red zone, I'm at 100% effort, I don't have anything else to give, but how many times in climbing have you just said, you know what, no take philosophy, I'm going to try to make a move, and if I just fly off, then I just fly off, and then you find you hook that hold, and you're like, where did that come from? That is it, man, in life. That is, it's like, so... we were really trying to find that point of failure. It's like lifting weights, right? It's like I told Stevie, and I've heard Tony Robbins say this. Stevie's my daughter, but she's doing a little bit of weightlifting now. I asked her, but Tony Robbins says he said if you do 10 reps of an exercise, which rep is the one that gives you the benefit? And most people will say, well, it was the 10th. No, it's the 11th. It's when you go to the next point. You go, and in weight training, you go to the point of failure. And so that's what I've been trying to teach her to do. But I think with that, and so not just climbing, like we're taking this out beyond climbing, right? And that's what we're trying to do with this is this is not we're not out here trying to tell you how to live. But we're living, and if you like how we're doing it, then hey man, come join us, man. Join us at the gym, just like that dude Brian. Yeah, back to that today. We had a guy. He doesn't normally climb with us. It was nice to have a fourth there. Yeah. So, but yeah, he climbed with us today, and that overhanging 511 I was on, and I was like, yeah, it's low percentage chance, and you got to pull the rope up to make your clip, and when you do that, you pull out more rope, so you're going to fall further. But I ended up taking this whip and kind of rope hit me in the face. I don't know how that even happened. I swung off, my feet came off, and then he was like, I really didn't know that was going to happen or expect that. And I think he said multiple times, you guys climb hard. You really, really climb hard. I think a lot of people that see us would say that. But, man, yeah, again, we're not doing that. That's not just limited to climbing, right? That's in work. That's in other activities. Like, so I'm a runner. Again, we didn't really do a lot of background, but I'm a runner. I'd like to call myself, and I guess an ultra runner. I've done a 50 miler, 100 miler. I've done multiple runs over 30 miles. But it's that same philosophy there. I mean, wouldn't you say in like other areas of your life? And
yeah. No, 100%. And the it's and you touched upon this. There's it's go for the next move and go with confidence. And it's not you're not out here being reckless with what you're doing or anything like that. It's moving with confidence, whether it's in climbing, the next hold, or work. If there's a project that you want to work on, or I'm a physical therapist. If there's something new to learn, approach it with confidence and approach it with everything that you have.
Right.
No endeavor is worth doing if you're not going to give it your all. So I think that's a big part of it. And, the only thing that frustrates me sometimes when I go home from the gym is if I don't give it my all or give it 100% chance to go for that move. And you try, you fail. Hey, so be it. You gave it everything you had.
Right.
And I think the same is true again with life. When I go to work, and if the only days I come home where I'm kind of discouraged, it's never with if we're busy or if I didn't have time for lunch that day or anything like that. If I didn't sleep enough that night or the night before, it's if I feel as though I didn't give everything I had
right.
to every single person who came into the clinic. And, those are the only days that I go home discouraged.
Yeah.
And, so again, just that's sort of the no-take mentality outside of climbing. It's giving it everything you have for whatever you do, whatever your passion is. And, for some people it's their work. For some people it's a sport. For some people it's, art, whatever it is. Just go at it with everything you have. Leave nothing left on the table.
Right.
And it's you'll go home and sleep well that night, knowing that you've done everything you can.
Yeah. So 2 things come to mind there. My daughter's school, Wilson Christian Academy here, local Christian academy. I just said, as I just said, but yeah, they basically they say their philosophy is with excellence. You do everything with excellence. If you're going to do it, then it's worth doing right. And I think I don't know who said this, but I was thinking about, and I'm kind of, I'm a spiritual, somewhat religious dude, follower, disciple, whatever. But somebody said that, why does God make flowers in a valley, like these beautiful flowers and trees and all this stuff and these picturesque like scenes and stuff in a valley that, a man may never set his foot. And it's just that same kind of philosophy. I think it's like with excellence, everything, you do. So I don't know if that made sense, but that was really beautiful. It's really beautiful in my head. I remember that. And I think about that, but it's like, but yeah, man. So, it's been a great journey, I will say, man, and we've got some stuff coming up. Looking forward to got a pretty big trip coming up. You are the planner, man. I love it, dude. I used to be that. I would say in my kind of group, I plan the trips, but man, never on the like order of magnitude of what you plan. So tell me about it. What the heck are we about to go do for?
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty fired up. Yes, one of the things I love more than anything, for whatever reason, planning trips and more specifically backcountry adventures. This one is going to be to an area that straddles the immigrant wilderness in California. It's in the Sierra Nevadas. So the immigrant wilderness to the north, and Yosemite National Park to the south. And actually, we're not getting a permit to go into Yosemite, so sorry, Park Service.
Yeah, but how will they know? Aren't we backdooring?
So and a lot of this is going to be off trail.
Okay.
So yes.
We'll just say, hey, we didn't.
I hope they don't find us.
Yeah, we didn't know we were there.
But we're going to be in some pretty obscure places, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I had a blast trying to figure out from point to point how we could set this up.
Okay.
And but anyways, we're going to be out there for 6 days. A good chunk of it off trail, and I think it's going to be a blast. I don't know what we're going to get ourselves into, but I have great faith that we will persevere, and I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah, me same, man. We went on this trip last year to Idaho, and dude, that was I probably think about that daily, every other day, man. I mentioned that. Wow, this. I see some scene, and I'm just like, yeah, that's got nothing on freaking Sawtooth in Idaho, dude. And man, you get these when you're out there like that, and so before I went on that trip with you, I think the longest I probably ever spent just in the wilderness was maybe like 3 days. Now I've been out and, Cape Lookout, things like that, 5 days, something like that. I don't think it's the same as backcountry, like when you got your car right there, when you're carrying everything you got like 14, 15 pounds of food, and you make one mistake. I think that trip in Idaho, I made a mistake of like a mosquito net. So didn't see that one coming. I think I asked you a couple times, yeah, bugs won't be that bad. And then we turned out we were there when, dude, it was like a bumper crop.
It was like peak hatch, and it was the most ridiculous, mosquito situation I've ever experienced.
Yeah,
it was nonstop, 24 hours a day, and bug spray didn't work. I mean, you kind of had to batten down the hatches. It was absolutely ridiculous. But,
right.
But besides that, it was a great experience, and we put in a lot of miles. We summited one of the peaks out there, Glenn's Peak, and there was no trail there. We just researched it and went at it, and it was unbelievable. And sometimes you almost feel like you're a pioneer or an explorer, and you see something and hey, let's go do it.
Speaking of that, yeah, so one thing I did want to do just while, for the listeners is just kind of talk about, I'm a reader, you're a reader, right? I saw a book on your table the other day, but yeah, in the spirit of all this exploration and stuff, yeah, I've been reading this Stephen Ambrose book. It's called Undaunted Courage. Highly recommend that. I'm thinking that maybe there's a future backcountry trip out there, maybe where we go retrace some of those steps or something, but man, I'm gonna tell you what, those guys back then, dude, just built different, man. I mean, we're out here with all these like technical fabrics and stuff and rain shells and stuff like these guys are doing like 30 plus miles in a day, hiking, getting rained on, sleeping in the rain, no shelter, getting up, doing it again the next day, and they're dealing with dysentery, gonorrhea. I really didn't know. One thing that surprised me about that was just how prevalent venereal disease was back then. Everybody had it. They didn't even, like with syphilis and stuff like that, they were just like, I don't know if I'm going blind today from the sun reflecting off the water, or if I'm going blind because of the syphilis. And they really didn't even mention it. Pretty interesting.
I guess it was a lot of time on their hands. They had to pass it doing something.
Dude, I'm telling you. So yeah, like dysentery. If you've ever played Oregon Trail, man, I mean, that stuff was really happening out there. But yeah, Undaunted Courage. Lewis and Clark, it focuses primarily on Meriwether Lewis and Thomas Jefferson, their relationship, logistics, planning for the trip, and then getting into the trip, and follows mostly Lewis's journals, and they reference Clark's journals and other journals where Lewis was missing some entries and things like that. They think there maybe are some lost journals out there somewhere. Somebody's hoping that, I don't know. How do you find a journal? Oh, it's like 300, 200 years later. Oh, so obviously how many centuries are a couple hundred years later? I just found this in my basement. It's like, how's that possible? All right, that stuff happens apparently. But anyway, so that's an awesome book. I'm reading that. Are you reading anything? You want to recommend anything?
That's a good question, and it's I'm reading a couple things right now, but one of the books I had read, it was a little while back, by an author, Ryan Holiday, and he wrote a series of books on, I guess what are termed the Stoics, which are some Greek philosophers, and the one of the quotes that was that he put in the book was actually by Julius Caesar, and it was, "What stands in the way becomes the way."
Right.
And that's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It might even be my favorite quote of all time. I think it's a good reflection of, how we want to approach a problem. And it's really easy to try and avoid it altogether, or skirt around it, or sort of kind of try and accomplish it, but that's too hard. I can't do it. And it but the way it speaks to me is, you've got this task in front of you, or again, an obstacle or something in front of you that's preventing you from getting from point A to point B, and the best way to deal with it, get through it, is just full on head of steam. Let's go. And it's I kind of think back to earlier this summer, and I was fortunate to go on a little hiking vacation, a little backcountry vacation with my nephew, one of my nephews and his girlfriend.
Right.
And she had never spent one single overnight, in the backcountry. My nephew had been on one trip with my brother and I a few years prior, but we were in central Washington in North Cascade National Park, and we were elevation, and it conditions can be unpredictable,
right?
So you just don't know what you're going to find. It was late June, which means probably rain, probably snow, probably cold, probably wind. We saw it all. Probably hot, saw that too, and
needed an ice axe for something.
We did, and that's what I'm getting to next. And at the start of the last day, we were at the high point on the trail, and we were hiking from south to north at this point. So we got to the north face, and there was a huge snowfield.
Right.
And it was steep. And at one end of this snowfield, which we didn't know at the time, there was a pretty sizable cliff. So, these two had never done anything like this before. I've had limited experience in snowfields, but at least some.
Yep.
And it was like, all right, guys, bust your ice axes out, and this is what you got to do if this happens. You take a fall, blah, 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 whatever. And it was awesome to see how they responded. And it was hard. And, of course, it started to rain. It was probably like 45 or 50 degrees and raining, and we're going down in the snow. There were no complaints. There was just focus and determination. And quite honestly, I think they were enjoying it. Even though it was, by all intents and purposes, the most miserable part of the trip.
Right.
But it was also the biggest hurdle for us to overcome. And looking back, that's my fondest memory is of us navigating our way down this snowfield, and the two of them just embracing it and attacking it and being like, you know what, yeah, we're getting through this, and let's go.
Yeah.
And again, tying this back into sort of the no-take lifestyle, I was so proud of them for getting through that. And it's, again, what stands in the way becomes the way. If we didn't go down that, we would have had to walk 25 miles in the opposite direction just to get back to where we wanted to be. So that was kind of the highlight of my summer to this point. I was just so fired up for him. And
you mean it wasn't our trad in the rain?
No, that was pretty awesome.
No, I know, dude. That was an awesome trip. And one thing. So did you actually mention the name of the book? Is it The Obstacle is the Way?
Yeah, you know what? I believe it's The Obstacle is the Way. Okay. I think that's the name of the book.
I've listened to the audio version of
it's
that.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. So yeah, man, we're consumers of things like that. Listen, and that's the thing for me about that book, Undaunted Courage, man. When I think about those guys and the conditions that they had to endure, man, it really puts things in perspective. As far as what we're having to deal with, they had some, I don't know, it's totally crazy. But when we go out there again, what's normal, what was normal for them would really, most people would be like, I'm not ever doing that again if they survived it. And so have they followed? Do they want to go on another trip? Have they mentioned that?
So we haven't really talked about it too much, but I'm certain they do. I have no doubts that they do. And it's
book your reservations with Chris now. He's honestly the best guy. So yeah, this dude good. How many trips do you go on a year, man? It's got to be. I
tried to get
12.
a couple really good. Well, I go on a few, but I try to get at least one or two real big backpacking trips in. And I've been fortunate to do so, and over the last several years, and I love it. I love getting off the grid, and it's challenging myself. I remember, and this would have been the fall of 2017. I took my first, multi-day solo backpacking trip, and it was the funniest thing. Like,
where'd you go on that?
So I was in the Sierra Nevadas.
Okay,
actually, I was in Sierra Nevadas.
Okay.
I was. It was funny going into it. First of all, my mom was terrified. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Chris, something's going to happen to you." And
don't forget your raincoat.
Yeah, exactly.
She still
pack your jacket.
Yeah, get your raincoat, Chris. All right.
And but no, it's so I got out there and I was like, man, I really wonder, am I going to be like scared or lonely? Am I just going to freak out and start crying, or I had no idea what was going to happen. And so I got out there. And it was 5 days, and I didn't see a single person for 3 of those days. Like, literally saw no one, and it was the best experience of my life. And it was really neat in that it kind of showed to myself that, hey man, you can do this. You can take care of yourself. You are going to be just fine.
That's a good feeling.
And it was awesome. And again, going into it, I was confident. But I really didn't know what was going to happen, but just prepped properly and went for it, and it was just like the best experience of my life, and you come back with a feeling of invincibility, and again, What stands in the way becomes the way. You overcome that.
Right.
What's going to stop you? I mean, there's nothing that can stop you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mentality I brought back from that. It's been refined, I guess, over the years and had to be sort of re-examined with climbing. And, I remember, before sort of adopting the no-take lifestyle on a rock climbing route, I was indoors, mind you, on a 5.9 minus and was scared to death. I was quivering. I couldn't move.
I've seen this.
It was ridiculous. I ended up falling off. I got a rope burn. It was absurd. And even at that point in time in my climbing, that should have been a walk in the park. That's a warm up route. And so it's just funny, how our brain holds us back, how our fears hold us back, how just the fear of fear holds us back.
Yeah.
And
Reinhold Messner said that it's the fear of the fear. He said it like that with some accent. But yeah, dude, 100%. It's more uncomfortable, like thinking about how you're gonna feel than actually feeling whatever happens, like with falling and things like that. Falling, I think most people would say, like if you got comfortable with it, it's actually pretty fun. It's actually pretty fun to take a big whipper. Yeah. But yeah, it's the fear of the fear, man. You see people, they just they back down, and I hate to see that in somebody, and I wanna, because so I've got my experience with that. So yeah, I started climbing. I went pretty hard until a kind of tragic incident happened. I actually watched a lady fall to her death, and all about this. Yeah. But yeah, at Pilot Mountain, brutal. She landed like 10 feet from where I was climbing. Man. And I called 911. They did CPR. The people there were people coming down the trail. She was a lost cause, but they still did that for probably 40 plus minutes. While it was so funny because I was in so much shock I couldn't even remember where I was. I couldn't remember what mountain I was on, and let alone what climbing area we were in. So I just said, let's just drive to the top of the mountain. I'll hear the sirens. I'll come up and meet you and lead you down. And that's what I ended up doing. I made 2 trips. First one was bring the park ranger, and second one was to go back and get the EMS. And these 2 ladies in sneakers. We went down we went down one of the gullies. I was like, we can make it down this. And they were like, oh my God. They were laughing and carrying on. And yeah, anyway, it was a lost cause. But man, after that, I'm going to tell you what, dude, that put a little bit of fear into me, man. Even though the accident had nothing to do, like it was just it was a mistake in her process. It still freaked me out, dude. And I'm gonna tell you what, like I knew that feeling. I was like, my personality, I'm gonna keep pressing on that feeling. I'm gonna keep encountering that until I can move through that. And I finally did. I went back and climbed that same route, led it, got up to it. Man, it was nerve-wracking though. But dude, that's for me. That's it. Like as soon as I know, and this is like with climbs you talk about, like going home and you didn't do your very best. You didn't give it your all. You held back. And even if no one else notices it, you know it. And I've been haunted by things like that. And dude, I'm gonna tell you, it eats me up. It's I did this 100-mile race a couple in May this year. And I'm going to tell you, man, I was jacked up at mile 40, and I was really wanting to quit, freezing. It was sleeting. It was crazy. Just conditions where we'll get into it another time, or I'll put some links. I did a couple podcasts on that. But, man, it was just crazy, and all I wanted to do was quit. And I'm thankful to you. You were sending me text messages and also to my wife, and she was just like, and I'm going to tell you what, dude, when I crossed that finish line and I got that buckle, every time I look at that, I am just like, thank God I didn't quit, because I wouldn't have been the same person, dude. I don't know how I would have lived. I'd be sitting here right now still probably grinding it out, thinking about May, which I do want to go back, and I'm still trying to convince the wife to let me do the same double next year, the 50 and the 100 again. That was just so freaking awesome. I don't know if I want to do anything else. But, man, yeah, it's been a great journey, this whole no-take thing. I look forward to just continue to grow this. I think in the future, one thing that would be cool, is if we kind of talk about for like the backcountry, you are such a good planner for those. I've done, my own like 3 days or so, out in the woods, and it was I never really did, it's like when you got to figure out 14, 15 pounds of food, 3,000 plus calories a day. it gets kind of hard to do that. It'd be interesting to hear about like your process. I think we maybe have a little bit different processes, if you're that guy. But
Yes.
so anyway, but yeah, I still have the Excel workbook from Idaho last year where I actually put in the calories and the weight and figured it all up and was like 3,500 calories a day by weight. And so I'm going to buy that same list. I'm going to upgrade some stuff. But yeah, for the most part, gonna do that same thing, man. And so dude, yeah, it's been a journey. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again. And I think in the future, one thing too I would maybe like to do is we'll think about bringing some people on if we find some people that exemplify that whole no-take philosophy. We see that it's apparent now. It's not something you can say; it's something that you do. It'll be apparent in your actions. And so. But what I'll do is, we've got some social media set up. I'm not a huge social media guy. You're like non-existent. You need to, I'm like tagging you and stuff, and you're just like, oh, I don't even, how do I log into this? I don't even have that app. So, but yeah, so what we'll do is I'll put the links to all that fun stuff in the show notes, or we're gonna put this on YouTube with the video as well. So we're doing the video as well. We'll put that on there. But yeah, we'll I think maybe so if you're interested in kind of what we're talking about, I don't know how we got to figure out some way to get people more involved, that don't live locally. But
that's a good idea, and and I guess too when people think about what no take Mafia is, and it's it's more than just climbing. Climbing's a big that's sort of how we sort of came to this, how it brought us together. But it's think about your own journey, your own life's journey, and it's there's times where you've risen to the occasion. There's times you've wilted, just like we all have.
Surely.
It you look at the impact that those times where you have stepped up and done something hard or worked towards a goal and gotten to that, whether it be at work or home or you built a deck on your house and it's like, man, this thing looks good.
Yeah. You gotta make that a habit, right?
Yeah, make it a habit and
make it a habit.
And think about, think about what that did for you. And it's those are the stories I love to hear. I've been a clinical instructor for 20 years. And one of my favorite things is hearing from my former students, how well they're doing and their stories of achieving greatness or trying something new or, again, having no takes and making that next step. And, I love it. And I guess just, think about that in your life. And I love to hear stories about that.
So if you're interested, if you have, if you want to talk with us about one of those situations or a number of situations, and then I think one thing you had mentioned is that we'll probably also in an episode talk about when we didn't live that life. Oof. and we talk about, we kind of joke about like what does it take to get your card revoked. We're card carrying members here, and what does it take to get your card revoked. And so we'll talk about that. I think that would be kind of interesting. But yeah, man, again, this has just been a pretty awesome journey. And I think with that, we're getting to about enough time. People are probably tired of hearing us freaking yap over here. But, one thing, so I'd like to leave the listeners with a quote that I like. And if you have one, you can. But if you don't have one, then that's totally fine. But it's one that hit me recently. There's been a couple, deaths here in the local area that kind of hit me. And I was like, man, in this life, you can be gone in an instant, dude, just driving to work. Somebody crosses the center line, or you can just, like my neighbor, it's really just tragic. He just, older man, he just kind of just fell out in his garage, and that was it. And, but yeah, it's a Thoreau, it's a quote by Thoreau, and it's, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the song still in them. And so, man, when I'm there, I'm at that moment. Like I want to look back and I want to know that I did everything I could do, 100% no regrets. I think up to this point, in my life, I'd say I have a lot of regrets. I was a long time drug user, alcohol abuser, did a lot of really terrible stuff. I just, thank God, and I've asked Jesus to forgive me, and I'm not joking, seriously, because I was pretty jacked up. But man, I want to get to that last point, and it's like if you've ever read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is begin with the end in mind, right? And that's imagine you're being eulogized. It's your funeral. You're being eulogized, and what are people saying about you? And one thing that stuck with me too is he says that no one on their deathbed wish they spent more time at the office. So also, it's not about quantity; it's about quality. And think about what you're doing in your life and the impact, because that's really another thing. Erwin McManus says he was talking to a guy, and the dude he's like this pretty wealthy guy. And he was like he just had all this free time and could just do whatever he wanted in his life, and they were just talking, and he said, I just want to change the world. I want to change the world, and he said, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, I don't know. And he was like, well, I know you'll never change the world. He said, because people that change the world change the square feet around their feet. So when I think about the impact I can have, I look at my children. I want my kids to be card-carrying members of the freaking no-take mafia, dude.
Absolutely.
And so, but yeah, that's me, man. What have you got? Anything? If you don't, we'll just wrap it up right there. But you got something you want to share?
No, I think that's a great. I think that's a great sort of idea to go out on, and be the best version of yourself.
Right.
And it's funny. We don't. Sometimes people think that making decisions is difficult, and I guess making the decision is difficult, but what the right thing to do is. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to do, what that is. Just do it. Yeah. And it's start with yourself, and live your life the way that you want to. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Good father, good husband, good mm-hmm. friend, good neighbor, mm-hmm. and a lot of things will work out from there.
Yeah, because I think, you're doing a disservice to the people around you if you're not the best version of yourself. And so, you got to start with you. And a lot of problems in life start with you. Take a look in the mirror and, find some accountability. But yeah, man, it was just awesome talking to you, dude. I think we could do this for hours and hours, and so we'll think about it. But here we go. Off to, hopefully our flight doesn't get canceled when we're getting ready to fly out to California, or some type of I don't know. All the systems crashed a couple weeks ago, but
think good thoughts, man.
We're flying. Are we flying Delta?
I think we're flying Delta.
Okay. All right. Well. Wish us luck out there. Wish us luck. But, man, it's been awesome. Look forward to doing it again. And, to all the listeners, thanks. If you like this, share it with somebody you know. And, again, we'll put all the links to the social media, which I think is not the greatest thing. It might be a detriment to society. But you know what? We're gonna put it out there because we got a message. I've got something in me I want to share. I think you do as well. That's why we've been wanting to do this. And so, man, enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just live your life with no takes.
No takes. All right. We're out.